Now on Bounce, a new survey by SunTrust Bank found 1 in 4 millennials between the ages of 21 and 34 are still depending on their parents for some expenses. We have Christina Fields here, an area manager with SunTrust, here to talk to us about this survey and give us some advice on how to become financially independent. Thank you so much for being here. I guess tell us a little bit more about the results of this survey and what it found.
So with the survey, it found that 1 in 4 millennials are still actually dependent upon their parents for their finances. And in that survey, 72% of those said that they actually cannot pay their bills if it wasn't for the financial help of their parents. And so thinking through that, that is a staggering number in statistics as we think about millennials between the ages of 21 and 34. And 47% of the parents actually said that it's causing them financial stress as well, that they're having to help their child or they're having to help the millennial to pay their expenses. So those expenses, they really do include things like, household expenses, their rent, their mortgage, and so things that they absolutely need to be able to survive.
Yeah, and a situation that people of that, that 21 to 34 age range don't necessarily expect them to find themselves in.
Absolutely.
So tell us, how financially independent are millennials?
That's a big question, right? So they actually, according to the survey that we conducted, they're not financially independent, because if 72% of them are relying on their parents for financial expenses in that day-to-day living, then we're actually not we're not at a place yet to say that we're declaring our financial independence as millennials. And so in thinking through that too is that, we're really dependent and putting that stress on our parents too, that they're worrying about paying our bills for us.
Right.
So for the first time in 130 years, the survey also shows that millennials are more likely to live with their parents instead of moving out and, thriving on their own as well.
Right. And then does the survey, do the results tell you what kinds of things they need help with?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things they need help with is, just things like their car insurance or their medical insurance, their rent or mortgage, and thinking through student loans is a really huge one. They're deferred while they're in school. They get out and then they have to start paying them immediately.
Right.
And even things like cell phones. So, we've come to be a society of technology, and having to pay the cell phone bills is kind of pricey.
Right.
And parents are actually having to pay that bill for millennials as well.
Yeah. So those big bills that can be very overwhelming at times. Does it give you any indication as to why this is happening?
So some of the reason why is because we just haven't started the conversation yet about finances. And so, working at SunTrust Bank, I'll tell you that we are in a movement called the Own Up movement, where we really know that everybody deserves a life well spent financially. And we have the ability to talk to people about that, and for us to really educate millennials and their parents on how to be financially confident, but really talking through what are those steps and what are those key steps that you can start out with as a millennial, and really striking the movement, sparking the movement to talk about it. Just have an open dialogue around money.
So what are some of those steps?
So that's a great question. So some of those steps are, track your spending. So as you think about being a millennial, or actually any person, track your spending. Know how much money you have going in and out each month, and make sure that you are not overspending. Most people don't realize they're actually overspending more than their paychecks are. So track the spending for the necessities, and track the spending for the needs and the wants, and then see if you have money left over. The second step would be start a savings plan early. So whether it's an automatic transfer from the checking account to the savings account, or direct deposit that goes into a savings account, have a goal in mind. Go to SunTrust Bank and see a financial expert, and we can tell you exactly how much money you can save each month, and start saving now for that savings plan. And then also build your credit, start developing your credit. So as a millennial is paying those bills, make sure to put those bills in your name, so that way when you are ready to buy a mortgage, buy a house and get the mortgage or an auto loan, that you have some credit established.
Right.
One of the biggest ones really is through employers when they have the retirement plan. Take advantage of that retirement plan.
Yep.
Go ahead and start investing.
Never too soon for that.
Never too soon.
And then SunTrust is also having the Year On Up sweepstakes. Do you want to tell us a little bit of how we find out more about that really quickly?
Absolutely. So go to suntrust.com /year on up.
Okay.
25 winners will actually win their mortgage or their rent or their auto loan or their student loan paid for an entire year. So please visit our website. It is suntrust.com /year on up and register to win for a year of those bills to be paid for you.
Wow.
You don't.
Some video
I
of the
know,
website
it's
there.
amazing. And you don't actually have to be a client of ours, but we would love for you to be a client of ours. But as you're registered on there, think about it too. Even if you don't win the sweepstakes, it gives you great financial habits, great spending habits, and it really will help you move to financial confidence.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that wonderful and valuable advice. Thank you for being here. And we will be back with more right after this.
If I told you